Now, what's thought to be the first survey focusing on the impact of domestic violence in the Sikh community has found 70% of women questioned and 1 in 7 men had experienced domestic violence and abuse. A third had suffered child sexual abuse. The findings by the Birmingham-based Sikh Women's Aid has been discussed at a national conference in the city today. A warning: Raj Kaur Bilku's report contains upsetting details from the start.
One of my earliest memories, from about 3 years old, is being sexually abused by a female member of my family. By the time I was 11, I'd probably been sexually abused by 3 different relatives.
Dippy, not a real name, lived with a trauma, unable to open up to anyone.
I didn't even want to talk to anyone in my community because it would always be, what did you do? What could you have done to prevent it?
This was a similar scenario for a domestic abuse victim, we'll call her Rani, who was abused by her husband.
It started after I had my first child. It was a physical attack. I went to the police, it went to court, and he was cautioned.
When Rani told her family, she was told physical abuse from her husband was normal and to be accepted.
At first I told my mum this generational thinking, especially in the Asian community. Their response is, oh, men just do that, but he'll change over time.
Sikh Women's Aid helped both these Midlands women and found their experiences were all too common. The charity says some people within the Sikh Punjabi community have tried to shut down claims of abuse, especially if the abuse has taken place in a Sikh temple called a Gurdwara.
The whole thing around keeping it hush, bringing shame on the community, but also that particular temple. Nobody wants to admit that something like this has taken place.
Abuse, whether it's domestic or sexual, is prevalent in every community. But what this report highlights is how it's hidden in the Sikh community, in the name of so-called family honour. That means perpetrators don't face justice and can go on to abuse others. Victims can't deal with the trauma and may live with psychological issues, and that vicious cycle continues for generations to come. I tried contacting the Sikh Council UK, but they are yet to respond. Meanwhile, Sikh Women's Aid say opening up about abuse in the community is the only way the issue could be tackled. Raj Kaur Bilku, BBC Midlands Today.